Hello everybody and welcome to Foreground Noise. This is a show where we talk about books, the books that I'm reading and books that you might enjoy reading as well as a few writing tips and language learning tips. So if you enjoy this kind of content and you want to have maybe something to listen to in the background or in the foreground as you're working, this is a really good mini podcast for it. I try to keep things short and concise. I also am trying not to read just fiction or just nonfiction. I try to get out there and read a couple of really different, shall we say, books as well to keep you guys entertained. You don't have to read these books if you don't want to, and completely your choice. And my opinions are obviously based on my opinions. So today we're going to talk about a very different kind of book that I enjoy. And this one specifically is a role-playing game. I don't actually do role-playing games. So this one specifically is called Tales from the Loop. And the reason that I actually bought this book is because I am an artist. And as you can see, I'm an artist. I'm not a professional artist. And I enjoy artwork. I enjoy artists. And the artist for this book is Simone Stollenhag, I think, is how you say his name, maybe. And he is one of my all-time favorite artists. I follow him on Instagram. He does a lot of really incredible work, and I'm actually going to just find a quick example of, you just have to open this book and his artwork is all over it. It is absolutely beautiful. A lot of his artwork and what initially drew me to it is like this, in that it looks like a sort of ordinary scene, and then on top of this ordinary scene there will be something very science fiction or fantasy on top of it. But the people in the photos, like for instance here, the people in the photos are just interacting with the objects as if they're ordinary. So you'll have some alien-esque looking object that has landed on Earth, and you'll have kids swinging off of it, climbing on it, playing on it, or people will just be walking past. There'll be a spaceship in the sky and they don't really even notice it. This book I found because of Simone Stollenhag, and I had never really been into any kind of role-playing type games. I feel like role-playing is not the right word. Any kind of game like that. But this one specifically, because of the artwork, I picked it up and I started a game with my siblings, and all of us created our characters. So I'm going to show you what the character sheets look like. They have all kinds of different people that you could be. You could be a troublemaker. You could be a couple. I'm trying to find it for you. You can be a couple different personality types. And I actually made the sheets. I made all kinds of things for the book. So for instance, you'll have the bookworm, the computer geek, the hick, the country guy, the jock, the popular kid, the rocker, the troublemaker, the weirdo, and those are all character types that you can work with. And then the powers, sort of the powers for the kid, are not like powers, right? They're not powers like exactly, because all the kids were quite ordinary. This has actually a very Stranger Things type vibe to it. None of the kids have powers, but they are interacting with otherworldly elements. And there's all these different stories, which are quite beautiful to go with it, that you can follow out, and they're really, really incredible. The setting for it is Sweden in the 1980s, and I actually, give me a second and I'll show you, I actually painted the map, so I'm going to show you what that will look like. Okay, so now that me and my siblings don't play this anymore, I actually framed it. But this is actually a board game type layout. You can fold it right down the center and put it back up. So, and if that's not the sort of setting that you would like to have in your story, you can actually choose the United States too. So there's two different settings that you can choose from. And the reason is, if you're not familiar with Sweden at all, then you can choose, I believe, Arizona or New Mexico, one of those two, in the United States in the 1980s, so that you could be more familiar with it. However, I find research to be fun. Surprise. And so I actually sat down and did a lot of research for role playing this book. So I looked up a lot of different kinds of snacks from the 1980s in Sweden. I looked up what music was the most popular in the 1980s in Sweden, what kind of video games, what kind of movies had just come out, what people were watching and eating. And so you just create this world where everybody is a kid. You can't be older than 14 or 15, I believe, and maybe it's 16. And all of these kids, in fact, if you age above that, you are now out of the game and you have to create a new character. And time actually passes in this story, which is very interesting. So like years actually go by. So if you start your character off at a specific age, maybe 16 is the age that you age out. So if you start at 15, you're gonna have to create a character pretty soon. The concept is that none of the adults in the area know what's happening. So as the story progresses, only the children know what's happening. Only the teenagers know what's happening. So if you get too old, you're now going to be out of the loop. You're not going to believe what the kids are telling you, and things like that. So you become an adult, and as you get even older, you're going to start to like just forget. It's sort of the whimsicalness of childhood, and one could even argue that perhaps none of this is supposed to even be real, which is another added layered aspect of it that I really like. It may just be your preteen to mid-teenager, and you are just imagining this whole situation, which is why the adults don't really give you any credence. They don't really believe you. And so I find that really, really fascinating. It's a really interesting added layer to it. And like I said, it also, the artwork really helps. So as you're playing through it, you're going to have all this different artwork that will inspire you for basically playing the game. There's maps of buildings that you'll enter. For instance, right here is the hunting cabin. The hunting cabin. So throughout the book, there's different maps. It's very much structured, I believe, like any other kind of game like this, like Dungeons and Dragons. But like I said, this is the only one that I've ever played. And I also created, this will show you how much of a nerd I am. I also created on Google Slides an interactive sort of map and presentation where you can move through the map and you can see all the individual locations with paintings that are found in the book by Simon Stålenhag. I believe that's his name. I'll put the link to his Instagram beneath. It is, I believe, a pretty reasonably priced book if I remember correctly. I think it was like $35, but I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. And you might have to look it up. Maybe it's more than that. And it's won a lot of awards. When it came out in 2017, it won Best Game, Best Setting, Best Interior Art, Best Writing, and Product of the Year for, I don't know, various different things. Oh, okay. So the other place you can set your is in Nevada, not in Arizona or New Mexico. It's Nevada. But anyway, I would really recommend it. And yeah, this is Tales from the Loop. Apparently, there's also a TV show on some streaming platform that I've never seen as well. But I hope you enjoyed it. It's been 10 minutes, and I will see you next time for more Foreground Noise. Bye. Have a nice day.